today, wherever you're watching this. My name is Taylor. This is another episode of Taylor Talks Teens. Today's going to be real informal. This is my office, sitting down at the desk because the topic this morning is kind of heavy. The topic this morning is racism, and specifically, how are you talking to your students about racism? For those of you who don't know, I am half African American, half Caucasian, or how I say it, I am half black and I'm half white. My father is black and my mom is white. And so growing up, I grew up with racism all around me. Racism from the white side of my family, racism from the black side of my family, racism anchored at, directed towards my dad, and racism directed towards my mom, racism directed towards me and my brother and my sister. So it's a very real topic in my life. It's a very real topic in the world that we live in today. And so I have a lot of viewpoints, and my goal today is not to give you my viewpoints, but my goal today is to maybe give some tips on how we can talk to our students. Because the reality is, if you haven't talked to your students about racism, now is a great opportunity. We don't want to miss our chance, because chances are if your students in public school, they've encountered some sort of racism, because just the families in the world that we live in today, students from all over the world are interacting with our students, and some of their views are directed and are very racist in its tone. And so talking to your students about racism. So the first question for you parents is, have you talked to your students about racism, about what racism is? And I would encourage you, as you begin to talk to the students, as you begin to have these conversations with students, is to listen. The biggest thing about Generation Z is that they do have an opinion. Generation Z has an opinion, and they want that opinion to be heard. And the biggest way to squash that enthusiasm and that social justice in their hearts, in Generation Z's hearts, is to give them your own opinion. And while some of you may want to direct your students in how they think and how they believe, making sure we understand where they're coming from is a big deal. Because some of your students have been shaped by their black friends, and been shaped by their Mexican friends, and been shaped by their Chinese friends. We live in Houston, where there is a huge melting pot of nationalities and races. Most of your kids go to a school district that has a big melting pot of nationalities and races. And so being able to listen to your students will go a long way. And then for some of you, those of you who are Christians and are trying to parent your student correctly, I think we have to make it clear and obvious that Scripture does not allow racism. Jesus tells us in John chapter 13, verse 34, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and remember, Jesus is a man who's probably darker skin tone, probably around my skin tone, if not darker, talking to a group of teenagers who all come from different varying nationalities and races. And he tells them, a new command I give to you, not a suggestion, but a new command, like go out and do this, to love one another just as I have loved you. And the crazy thing about that, right? Jesus gives us examples of loving other races, loving other nationalities, loving other people who were different from him, right? And he gives us examples. He gives us a viewpoint. And so Jesus doesn't suggest it, but he says, go and love others. Surround yourself with other people who don't look like you, who don't act like you, who don't smell like you, who don't watch the same things as you do, and love them the way that I am loving you. And so that is what we're called to as Christians. And so maybe the conversation starts there with your teens, that this is how we are to love. And then maybe ask them, what are their opinions about the world today? Because the answers you'll probably get are, they're scared, They don't understand the rioting. They don't understand the protesting. They don't understand the racism. They don't understand the brutality to police, or they don't understand the brutality from police. Ask them and listen. And then as we listen, maybe give your perspective. Maybe those of you who have encountered racism can buy in. Maybe those of you who have friends of different nationalities and different races can give your opinions and give your viewpoints. And then it opens that bridge of conversations. And once that bridge of conversations is opened, it leads to a whole new world. But it has to start with loving one another. This will be a hard conversation. But having this conversation will lead to so many more possibilities in your parenting, will lead to so many more possibilities in growth in your Christian walk and your students' Christian walk. And so we want to be here to help you. We have several resources that we have. And if you need those resources about racism in particular, I would love for you to reach out. My email is taylor@mymbcp.com. Or if you want to have a conversation, again, I have a broad perspective on both sides, especially when it comes to black and white. And so I would love to sit down and talk with you. Again, I would love to empower you. Let's love one another. Let's open the conversation with our students, and let's see where that goes. We love you guys. We'll talk to you next time.